Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Debra Eckerling, goal strategist, book proposal specialist, author of 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting, and your goal guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals. Yes, it's GoalChat. There is a theme. You can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. So every week I bring together some of my people, and I'm really excited. Today we're talking about amplifying your voice. And I brought in some of my, I was going to say loudest voices I know, but maybe some of my clearest voices who are so on brand, and they do what they do to help other people amplify their voices. So going to be a great conversation. Today we have Bobbie Carlton, founder of Innovation Women and like a gazillion other things. Okay, maybe not a gazillion, but like I Start podcasts, Bobbie Retail Therapy's websites, and it's all in service of amplifying voices. See, I could do theme. Liz H. Gahali, who is also in LA, and special shout out anybody who's seen any of the wonderful Barnes and Noble Santa Monica posts. They are all Liz's fault because she arranged and promoted and post promoted the event. And I'm like, hey Liz, want to come on Monday? And so I'm thrilled to have you. And I don't normally see you this many days in a row, but it's going to be several, which is always fun and awesome, right? And Cheryl Tan, who I met years ago pre-pandemic through a mutual friend who is sadly no longer with us, but we will always be grateful for Ellen for doing that initial intro to us. But Cheryl also, her business is Lights Camera Lunch. It is all about helping people embrace their gifts through authority and starting live shows and podcasts. Anyway, we're going to talk about amplifying your voice, and as I amplify mine, you might be watching us as GoalChat Live, you might be watching the replay, or listening to us as the GoalChat podcast on the Marketing Podcast Network. But no matter how you found us, we are so glad you're here and itching to, if you are not already, amplifying your voice. I would love for my friends to introduce themselves because I feel like I just say you're awesome, which by the way is true, but we also know there's more to you than that. So let's start with you, Bobbie. Who are you?
Who am I? Well, right now I am cold.
Other than Colt.
Hello from snowy Boston, where we got about 20 inches of snow and it's still snowing. Hi, I'm Bobbie Carlton, the founder of Innovation Women, but I also have a day job where I run Carlton PR and marketing, a night job, which is Innovation Nights, a monthly new product launch event. Innovation Women is the dream job, and then I also engaged as Debra mentioned, in retail therapy in 2020 and bought 2 additional companies, Lioness Magazine for the female entrepreneur and My Speaker Leads, which is a research service for professional speakers. The theme for all of them is driving visibility that helps create business and career success.
And with that being said, you were also one of the 60 people that I interviewed for 52 Secrets and talking about visibility is opportunity because, well, it is, right?
Every time you get on stage, you get a chance to tell your story. And when you tell your story, you make connections.
And people can't know you unless you tell them you are here, which is why we are on this amplify your voice train today, so to speak.
Absolutely.
There we go. Okay, great. Liz, Restream has made it really this flipping thing. There, it worked. Yay. Go technology. Liz, welcome. Thanks for joining.
Well, thank you, Debra, for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I am a last-minute invite, but I will take any opportunity to amplify my story. And I actually run a PR agency called Goody PR, and our tagline is "Let us magnify your goods." So we say we're a magnifier versus an amplifier, but it's basically the same thing. And we focus a lot on publicity campaigns and public relations programs for small business authors and anybody who's a thought leader that wants to get their voice out there. And we only take 5 VIP clients at a time, so we really get passionate about it and put our heart and soul into it. So we're real excited to be here. The other thing we do is we're an author like Debra. We have a book called 8-Second PR, New Public Relations Crash Course. And 8 seconds comes from the average attention span of an adult is 8 seconds. So you have to get to the point and be clear, concise, and compelling, which I am not doing right now. and then in 8 seconds. And then the last thing that we do is we run a book awards program also to magnify or amplify author voices. And that is called Goody Business Book Awards. So we're goodypr.com and goodybusinessbookawards.com.
Awesome. And I love the fact that you were able to jump in. I was saying this in the pre-show, which you all were not privy to, but this panel kept changing as people's schedule changes. One person lives in Europe and didn't realize it was going to be at midnight. So I brought in Cheryl, and then I brought in Bobbie. And then fortunately, when my third person, who, let's be honest, would have been fine because he can talk, would not have had the same impact as Liz. But I'm like, hey, Liz, any chance you can join us on Sunday? But on Monday? But this is the point. When you are at one with your voice, you're ready to go whenever the opportunity is there for you, which I think is super important and something I'm going to guess that you all agree with. Yes, Deb. Absolutely. Cheryl, welcome. Great to have you here.
It is great to be here, Deb. Thank you so much. And I come from a TV background, so I have taken my experience in TV news, anchoring and hosting, and I've turned that into a way to help people amplify their voice. So I love being in this company. Bobbie talks about bringing, especially with her Innovation Women community, bringing women's voices on stage and getting that amplified through other people's networks. Liz, you do wonderful work with PR using publicity. And for me, I like the idea of working with my clients. My students are executives with a whole lot of experience, helping them build their own platforms through my Lights Camera Launch program so they can share what they have to share, but then get on stages with Bobbie and use Liz's publicity magic to then get their words out there. But they first need to get clear on what those messages are. And so I work with that through the Lights Camera Launch program. And it's been so much fun.
Awesome. Well, and like I said before, this is really a great mind meld of people who are doing different things in the area of getting your voice out there, right? And you all pretty much answered this, but I'm going to ask it as a very specific question because you're all service providers. I am too. I help people with book proposals. We're all at service of getting other people's voices raised, but I would love first to hear how you all amplify your own voices. I know, trick question, but you had to guess it was coming. Bobbie, do you want to start us out?
Yeah, the word amplify actually reminds me a little bit about innovation nights. And innovation nights ran for 11 years in the Boston market. We took a little hiatus while the pandemic was running, and we kind of didn't come back until last week. We just announced that we're going to be bringing innovation nights back. And part of the innovation nights magic was an amplification program that we ran using social media. And the goal was fill up a room with people who were willing to donate their social network to the cause. And if you point people in the right direction and everybody is bringing their own social network to the party, it's amazing the just absolute burst of visibility and messages that you can convey if everybody is kind of pointed in the same direction. When we were running innovation nights every month, we did over 130 monthly events. We were driving somewhere between 2 and 3 million views a month using a social media amplification program. We were using a local tool here in Boston, a company called Gaggle Amp, but it was really the people that were in the room who were willing to basically pull out their phones and snap a picture or write something and post it. And together, it was incredible the amount of noise we could make on behalf of these startups.
Okay, and I love it. But how do you amplify your voice, Bobbie?
Well, I fill up a room and I stand at the front of the room as the speaker, and it's like everybody's pointing those cameras at me. So,
Okay,
a
filling
lot
up
of
a
the
room.
activity that we do through Innovation Nights, through my agency, and through Innovation Women, I I kind of, as the figurehead, go along for the ride. You are the face to your business. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that they need to be out front.
Exactly. Yes. Okay, you did it. You answered the question. Answer accepted. Let's move on
Thank
to
you.
Liz. Liz, you do great things for your clients, but how do you amplify your own voice?
Well, that's a great question. I love the innovation nights. I basically have to put myself out there. Bobbie's talking about you are the face of your brand. And so I have to be a little shameless. And so I use a lot of videos, and I use the videos on primarily social media. I put it on Instagram and then also our YouTube channel. And I just share tips and insights. So it might be 3 tips from my book, or it could be 3 things that a top book publicist does, or 3 reasons you need media training, which will provide coaching for that as part of our contract. So I really have to throw myself out there, and there are days where I'm like, I don't want to be on camera anymore. And then I will just put up posts of my client interviews or posts of them. But if I don't put up a post about me, it doesn't connect as much. It's that human connection. You're building a credibility, thought leader brand, and a trust in potential clients. So I think you have to get out there to amplify your own voice. And then I do go to networking events, but I've been really bad about it. With the pandemic, I'm pretty much hibernated. And that's not like me, because I used to go to 3 events a week. But now I'm starting to get back out there again. And Debra and I went to a event last week called the Power Ladies. And they let people get up and talk about what they do. And Debra gave me a big shout out, which was great. So word of mouth, if you can get people to give you a shout out at an event like that, is gold.
Word of mouth, and I think there were 4 other people from that event who showed up Saturday at the Barnes & Noble, which was extra nice. So yes, you need to speak for yourself. It's really easy. I think it's much easier to amplify other people than your own voice, which is exactly why we are talking about this today. What about you, Cheryl? What do you do to amplify your own voice?
Well, I have a YouTube channel like Liz does, and I use that as kind of like a library. Like I like it to think of it kind of like just like a repository of content that I can then use to share one-to-one with people. So how I amplify my voice is through one-to-one conversation. And that does take a lot more time, obviously, but maybe it is just kind of back to my reporter days. But I really like talking to people one-to-one. And that's kind of how I've been able to kind of build really good connections and relationships. And I use the video to kind of start the conversation, maybe send those videos one-to-one with somebody, and then, or they find it in a myriad of ways, but then really connect with them through one-to-one conversation.
Okay, good answer. Answer accepted. And normally I don't always, and I do like the fact that you've got your FAQs, your information, so you could send things to your clients or prospects, and then they can get to know you. Because I can have, even you all don't do the same thing, but I have had panels with people who do the same thing on it. But not everyone is a client for everyone. You've got to match personality, you've got to match style, and also the need of the people that you're working with. What I was going to say is my favorite way to amplify my voice is I love speaking, I love doing events, but I love doing podcasts, as I alluded to. And if you know me, you know this to be true. So each week I have an opportunity to have a conversation. And unless it's on purpose, my guests don't know each other. And then on GoalChat, and then Today's Spends with Deb is my foodie one. And my most recent is the book proposal podcast. And that's a little bit, that's just me talking. When I started it, I'm like, okay, what haven't I done? And that's an audio only where I'm answering questions. I know it needs to be video. I will get there. But everything else is, right? But the point is, we need to do different things. We need to mix it up if we want to amplify, be known as for what we do. Anyway, great. This is how you all amplify your voice. So what are your recommendations for others? How can they amplify theirs? Liz?
We're changing the order.
we are. Actually,
That's
what I want, before we get to that one, and we probably should have done this first, but what does it mean to you to amplify your voice? Let's back up and give some definitions here.
Okay, you want me to go first?
Yes, you still get to go first.
Okay, so what does it mean to amplify your voice? To me, it is putting yourself out there, but it's also what I was saying about you want to be clear, concise, and compelling to have the biggest impact. And one of the tips I would give you is to talk in threes, because people get overwhelmed. They have the short attention span. So if you are ever on TV, radio, podcast, doing a video, talk in threes. And what I mean is you say the top 3 reasons that you want to amplify your voice are 1, 2, 3, because people can follow that and they love stuff like that. So that would be my what is amplifying your voice tip. But also in terms of a definition, I mean, it's really everything. We have so many tools now that we didn't have, say, 20 years ago. So use video, use social media, use blogs, and write books and share tips. That's probably the number one thing. You want to be helpful. It's not all about you. It's about you helping other people. And so my big tip when I talk to thought leaders about being on TV is I say you have to be educational and entertaining. So if you're educational and entertaining, people will listen to you. If you are me, people are going to turn it off. So don't do that, and have fun with it and smile and be passionate, because that makes a big difference.
Okay, so you say it's about being helpful, which is being educational and entertaining. So is that 3 a helpful, educational, and entertaining? Or is it educational, entertaining, and a third thing because you missed one?
I did not think it through, but I always say how about be entertaining, educational, and passionate.
Okay, I like that. And I'm with you as well. And that's something you learned as a writer. Things in threes, beginning, middle, end, point A, point B, point C, making things hit home. Even when I do my book proposal consulting, I'm like, there are 3 sections of a book proposal. There's concept, context, and content. And context is where you show up. It's the purpose. And it's a stretch, but I like alliteration and I wanted a third C. So sometimes you have to be a little creative, but that also then shows that you know your stuff. I just had to share that because it amuses me every single time I mangle my alliteration to make it fit my business. Bobbie?
I love the rule of 3, Liz. That's like one of my big favorites. So when I talk about amplification, I talk about how can we get louder, how can we get farther, and how can we do it faster. So rule of 3, baby. I hit it right there. When we are talking about amplifying, we really do have to be louder than we normally are. We also have to reach places we might not otherwise reach. And we have to do it with a bit of acceleration. So if you can't do one of those 3 things, that's not amplifying. That's just shouting into the wind, so to speak. So louder, farther, faster.
And part of that, and so I love this louder, farther, faster. And mix that along with be something you're passionate that you know things about. So you're not just talking to talk, you're talking with purpose, passion, education, entertainment. Okay, so Cheryl, do you have like 3 more to add to this?
I might have one more that I'll say 3 times. How about that?
You know, no rules in GoalChat. Great.
Like, you know, if you're thinking about real estate, it's location, location, location. And I think if you want to be heard, if you want to be able to amplify your message, in this day and age, I think you have to be more specific. So specificity, specificity, specificity. If you are having the chance to speak on a stage and you can make your message more specific to the audience you're speaking to, they will hear it more clearly. I'm trying to get a better example in my head right this moment, but as someone, and Liz, and you know this, as you're working with your clients, the goal is to speak in more generalities. What I've kind of gone the other way. As I work with my clients, I'm trying to get them to be more specific with their topics so that their audience can hear them. So in the sea of noise, people can say, oh, that person can help me. That person can help me with my finances, or that person can help me with buying a home in the right place, or whatever it is that you're trying to find. That specificity is the key that will get your audience to hear you.
I love that. And so I'm going to ask you, and we did this with the intros, but I want you each to, what is your specific one-liner of what you want people to associate with you? Like for me, it is either goal setting simplified or book proposal simplified. You want one of those things, I'm your person. So what is that for you, Cheryl?
Your signature show in 12 weeks.
Okay. Liz?
I love it. Well, we say, let us magnify your good. So that's our tagline. But I just want to add to what Cheryl was saying. It's speaking to your niche and your niche audience or your subject area. And I think that's really important. So I just had to say that.
I appreciate that. Bobbie, I know what yours is going to be, but you can say it anyway.
I'm gonna surprise you.
I love it when you do that.
Obviously, each one of my businesses has its own tagline, but there is a thread that runs through all of them, which is, I think, what you're thinking about, which is visibility equals opportunity. But if you have to remember one thing from me from today, it's say yes to public speaking.
Okay. Well, I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you. And I was explaining before. So if you are not subscribed to the Book Proposal Podcast, please do. This is exactly what I'm covering tomorrow, which is why it is so important for an author, especially one working on a book proposal to do public speaking, but it's for everybody. So why should people say yes to public speaking?
If you say no, somebody else gets that opportunity. And I hate to say it, ladies,
It's probably
two-thirds of all conference speakers are men, and that leaves women out of all kinds of career and business opportunities. We have men on stage being seen as leaders, and in our mind's eye, when we say leader, too often it's what I call the male, pale, and stale guys, right? The same for old white guys over and over again. And I don't have anything against old white guys. I'm actually married to one. But we want to hear other voices. And we, as women in particular, need to be those other voices. Otherwise, we are not going to ever achieve pay equity. And by the way, recently, we've been going backwards. Like, it was holding steady, not great holding steady, but holding steady. In the last 2 years, pay equity has actually retreated for women. It's gotten worse. We're not going to see the number of women in the boardroom. We're not going to see the number of women in the C-suite. And for female-founded companies, we're still getting less than 2%. 2% of all the venture capital. So unless we say yes to public speaking, getting out there, getting in front of audiences, all of those other things are just a pipe dream. Can you tell this is my soapbox?
I'm going to let you play on your soapbox, but I always want to ask you, how much does your husband love whenever you say that line?
So my husband actually works in the dining room. I work in an office just off the dining room, and he puts on headphones all day long so he doesn't have to listen to me.
I have my answer.
And I
Great.
send him messages. Like, our in-house chat is basically me just asking for coffee all day long. I have all these different ways of asking for coffee, little gifts. Ken
Yeah.
has coffee. Coffee, please. Help, coffee. I'm empty. Coffee, please, please. He every once
he
in a while
delivers,
will.
right?
Yes, he does. He also delivered me the big jug. Can
Oh,
you tell
so
I'm in Boston?
It's
The
hilarious.
big jug of water. Don't worry, this
Right.
is not coffee.
So because I do want to take a little bit of time to go into each of your specialties. So let's talk about speaking, Bobbie. How can people get started? What is literally the easiest way to start speaking?
The easiest way to get started with public speaking is when you are at a conference, you are sitting in the audience, and the speaker on stage is finished, and they say, "Are there any questions?" And you say, "Yes." You introduce yourself. You maybe say your company name, and then you ask your intelligent, well thought out, not self-promotional question. And you are now a public speaker because you spoke to the same audience that the people on stage just spoke to. And you made a friend forever with the speaker on stage who is dreading the sound of crickets when they ask first questions.
Yes, I'm an extrovert, big shocker, right? So I always want to talk when they say, does anybody have any questions? So what I'll usually do is I'll look around and give anybody else first dibs, and then I will raise my hand because I've been on the other side.
Yeah.
And I think if you're a speaker, you are the most empathetic person when you're at an event. So I love that. Liz or Cheryl, do you have any recommendations for conquering stages? Cheryl, you're nodding.
I wanted to say one thing about Bobbie's say yes to public speaking. It's a quick story, if I may, Deb.
Please.
So years and years ago, I was a reporter, and I was tasked with finding a local business to do a feature on. This is a feature. It was not hard news that day. It was a feature on a business. And the woman I called said, no. This was like, right, Liz? Like,
okay, if you're listening, Liz and Bobbie are making the best faces.
And she was like, no, I'm nervous and I need to get my hair done. And I was like, you do know that I can't come back. Like tomorrow's another day with different news. So, so please say yes to opportunity. And part of that is doing your preparation now. Now that you've heard what Bobbie said, what Liz is going to say, and what I'm going to say, we're talking about all the things that we're talking about. Now you know to be prepared. And you'll think of your question for the speaker that you go, for whatever conference you go to next. But I have an exercise because part of, and I do video, I work with them. I work with my clients to get shows either on YouTube or on LinkedIn or a podcast. It doesn't matter what format it is in, but a lot of times the video is what gets people really riled up. So I just tell them to do this personal 5-day video challenge. That's all I have them do. I have systematized it now. And so I do have like it as a group, but really you could just take your phone and shoot yourself on your phone, shooting a 60-second video every day for 5 days. That's it. And just get used to yourself being on camera, get used to yourself with your ums and your ahs, record it, watch it back. Just get used to yourself, because once you see it, you'll have it in your mind's eye and you won't repeat it, hopefully. And when you actually get interviewed, for when you are interviewed for your next time, or if you're going to be on stage, it will be a little less traumatic, because you'll have those videos, that memory of you creating those videos already behind you.
So video is a ramp up to public speaking.
Absolutely.
And getting comfortable.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And video, I will say, some people find being on video a little more nerve-wracking than public speaking. I don't know. And people tell me that. I'm not sure if they tell you that, Bobbie, but they tell me that all the time. For whatever reason, either way, this will allow you to do both. It'll allow you to work both muscles if you record yourself and watch it back later.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to get back to shows in a minute, but I want Liz's take on this.
So I love this question, and I am probably the least experienced here. I definitely want to talk to Bobbie after this show. But I guess one of my tips, and it will not surprise you, is when you think about your speech, don't write a really detailed script and try to memorize it, because that's not going to work. You want to come across as, animated, passionate, and fun. So you're giving me a flashback to, I got into PR because I wrote a dating book a million years ago. And I got invited to speak on a Friday night in Monterey, California, to a group of singles about my dating book, right? So I had a 10-page outline of bullets. And I get up to the speaking event, and I'm thinking there's going to be 20 people. 150 people showed up.
Wow.
Right? 150 people show up, and I got a podium and everything. And I looked at the script and I said, the heck with the script. I'm putting the script away. And I stuck to the 3 parts of the book. So we're seeing a theme here, but the book was like how to get ready, how to get out there, and how to figure out compatibility if the guy's the right guy, something like that. So I just stuck with those, and then I told a story for each one of those 3 points. And that flow worked really well. And, if you get picked as a speaker, you have to believe in yourself, have confidence in yourself, and realize you know your stuff. And that's why you got selected as the speaker. So forget the script, but, come up with an outline, but don't look at a script.
It's so true. And I will admit, so I did a TEDx during the pandemic, and I tell people I did a TEDx, but if ever anybody's looking for a video of me, that is not the one that I sent, because it was, you had to memorize a script and it had to be a certain way. And even though I did public speaking in college, that was a little bit ago. I love conversations like this so much more, or even when I'm doing my webinars, because I've got the outline on the slides and I've got something to follow. But having that spur of the moment enthusiasm when you are saying the words rather than just reading things, as much as you try to do better inflections, it is literally not the same thing as going off the cuff. So really, I am so glad that, again, if you're just listening, when Liz mentioned that she threw out her notes, the three of us were like, yes, absolutely. Woohoo, doing you go girl signs. I do want to do a quick shout out. This is GoalChat Live, and we do have a bunch watching live. So Meryl Cass, thank you. And Meryl, who is also freezing in northern New Jersey, is empathizing with you, Bobbie, but also invited a bunch of other people to watch us live. So hello. Actually, Leslie, I think you were here before, but we are very glad to have you here. And also, I believe Leanne and Jonathan are here from Meryl's invitation. So thank you all. I am live every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you want to get involved in the conversation in real time, or you can always comment and share your thoughts after the fact. We love that kind of engagement. Anyway, because that's the best segue I could come up with, let's talk a little bit more about what you do, Cheryl, which is you're encouraging people to start live shows or a podcast to promote their business. And I had this conversation with a client today saying, when are you going to start your podcast? If you are owning your topic, you need to have a podcast. So will you talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's your platform. It is a place where people who have stages like Bobbie works with will find what you do and can amplify your voice. It's a place where if you have the right platform, you have a podcast, a YouTube show, maybe even like a LinkedIn video series, Liz can find those nuggets and promote it and get you more media coverage. And so I feel like it kind of starts there. I've been working with, we're all overwhelmed, right? I've been working with people who know, yeah, I know you're like, really? We are
Really?
We're all so overwhelmed. And for some reason, the people I've been working with recently are so well versed in what they do. They have so many years of experience in their expertise. So just so much, such good stuff. And they don't know what to do with it, right? They don't want to retire. They don't necessarily, I think a book might be in their future, Deb. So I'll let them know to reach out to you. But they don't know what to do with this hard-earned, hard-won experience. And I'm helping them figure out how they package that, essentially. So really, to me, it's just kind of like a packaging mechanism, this show, for them to create, whether it is on YouTube or a podcast or a video series that they share just internally or privately, whatever. It doesn't even matter what it is, but it allows them to get their thoughts, create invaluable content actually, for people who they may potentially want to collaborate with, work with, have more connections with. That's basically it.
Basically. And you're owning your own stage.
Yeah.
Right? As Bobbie would say. You're putting your stake in the ground and saying, I know this, I'm the authority for this, which I tell my clients all the time, if you don't have a podcast, what is stopping you? Because you are owning your expertise. So why wouldn't you own it?
And the conference organizers will find you through that. They'll check you out. They'll figure out, well, does she say what we would like our people to say, or whatever it is. But they're looking for corroboration from you. Can you deliver what you say you're going to deliver? And a podcast, YouTube channel, those are great ways to show that.
And if you're authoring a book, you're not just selling the book. You are selling yourself, your expertise, your enthusiasm for the topic. And yes, you want to be on stages and other people's podcasts, but nothing shows you owning your thing than you creating a podcast around your topic. Yeah. I see a lot of nodding from Liz. Did you want to chime in on the power of your own show?
Yeah, I just totally agree. And I think it's wonderful because it is about building a brand and a platform. And a lot of people, they have a hard time defining their voice. And so I think that's awesome. You do that. I do that also. But it's great that you package it and help them with the show, because the show is a great way to amplify your voice.
Thank you for using the title of of this episode. Thank you.
Yes.
Bobbie, do you have anything else you want to share about the power of owning your own podcast land?
I actually I go the other direction on this. I don't have my own podcast. I spend a lot of time guesting on other people's podcasts. Number one, because there's a lot of work that goes into owning your own podcast, and I got a whole bunch of other things going on. You know, I could probably fit it in between 2 and 4 a.m. if I was lucky. But I spend enough time on other people's podcasts that last year I was interviewed by somebody, I just want to say, who knows me personally for his podcast. And he's like, "So I wanted to interview you first for my podcast." I'm like, "Okay, thanks. Why?" "Well, you're such an expert on podcasts and you have a great podcast." And I'm like,
Oh my goodness.
"No, Nate, I don't. I don't have a podcast." And he's like, "Yeah, you do." "No, I don't." He had gone to what I had created on my website, which is interviews with our founder, and it was I promote the podcast that I'm on. So he had gone to that and heard all of these different podcasts with me talking to all of these different people and just assumed it was my podcast. So, you know, if there is a consistency of voice, if there's a consistency of topic, I guess it is enough that people will think you have your own podcast.
You're also very, though, steeped in your niche. You are
Very focused.
yes,
Very.
which is great. And yes, at some point,
That there's a downside to that. For example, I ran innovation nights for 11 years in the Boston market, to the point of people thought I was an events producer. And I'm like, "Ugh, events is like the least thing I do." And, you know, by the way, they'd come up to me and tell me about, you know, how they had to go and find a PR agency. And I'm like, "Hello? What do you think I do for a living?" "No." "Yeah." "No." "Yeah." So, you know, if you do focus on some things too much, sometimes you have to accept that it excludes other things.
which is a reason to love what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Because then, you know, when people come up to you and they're like, "Hey, come talk on my show." Okay, what do you want to talk about?
Come talk about your podcast.
I once had an interview, and I don't know why, but I thought I was being interviewed about something else, and it was being interviewed about speaking. And okay. I mean, it was fine, but I showed up ready. I was in book proposal mode, and they're asking me all these questions about talking. Okay, which is great to have that flexibility if you've got a bunch of, I mean, my overarching, you know, goal setting simplified, book proposal simplified, ask me, networking, community. I host GoalChat. I mean, I could talk about a lot of different things. If that is, but a lot of it centers around setting goals, whether it's for your life, your business, or your book. And that's great for helping people to find you when you are okay, Bobbie is Innovation Women. Cheryl is Lights, Camera, Launch. Liz is Goody PR. So there's that part of it too.
I got my light to work.
Liz.
Yay.
Yay.
What do you have to say about using PR, using your voice for good? How can people use that? And I know both Bobbie and Liz are PR, but you'll forgive the little crossover. What are your recommendations of how people can get PR so they can show up as this expert that they are and amplify their voice?
Absolutely. Well, we like to work with small business owners and authors who want to use the power of positive publicity to help them increase their thought leadership brand, but also naturally attract customers and clients. So if you have a book and you think you're going to get rich on your book, forget it. We don't want to talk to you because that doesn't work. So it has to be part of a bigger strategy. So we focus a lot on health and wealth and finance because those are areas that the media wants to talk about. And so specifically for health, we've worked with addiction centers. We have mental health crisis topics that, we can talk about all day long as pitches to the media. The media wants to talk about that. So if you're in that area, we want to talk to you. We also, our first client was a Rich Dad advisor to Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad. And we've worked with all of Robert's advisors, who are 8 small business CEOs, and they've all written different books on things like, how to start a company, how to save money on taxes, how to protect your assets. These are all kind of complicated topics, but we love to learn and figure out what is your wow story. Cheryl was talking about the magic. It is the magic. Is what's your secret sauce and how can we get it out there? Because there are millions of doctors and millions of CPAs. So we want to know what is your unique story. And so we will pull it out by working with you one-on-one and then saying, hey, what was that one thing you just said? So I'll just give you one example. We worked with a canine trainer who trains service dogs for veterans and first responders. And she said this thing on this one TV interview, and it didn't make any sense, and people were commenting. And she was talking about it takes 120 hours. And people were like, what is that? So I went back and I said, what is that? She goes, oh, well, what that means is it takes 120 hours for us to train a service dog one support behavior, meaning wake you up from a nightmare. Or if you have PTSD and you're shaking your leg, to train that dog to come over, put their paw on your leg, that's 120 hours of training. So I heard Cheryl say, wow, that is the wow story that she did not even.
Wow.
That's
okay.
The story. So I work with that. And then once we figure that out, we will pitch and we will aim to get you earned media, which is you're not paying for it because you earn the respect of the reporter that they want to tell your story for free. So that's TV, radio, print, podcast. And I'm including video now because some people will just do a video about your story. And that's awesome. But we also get people columns and we ghostwrite columns and work with them. So we got 2 PhD women thought leaders who have a book, Psychology Today columns. And that is one of the top publications out there. So to get that was so hard. And I was so excited when it happened. And then we do media training.
I think we're jumping ahead. I think I asked the question wrong.
Okay.
So the question is, what is the power of PR? And the answer is to share your wow story, right?
Yes. Okay, that's it. The end.
You did it, and then you
okay,
done some.
Excellent. No, and we will get back to where people can learn more about you, but I want to cover a couple more things, and I want to let Cheryl and Bobbie also chime in on their answer to this. What do you believe is the power of PR? Because you're also coming at it from different angles. Bobbie?
Lately things have changed a lot online. And if you've noticed that your website traffic has fallen off, there's a good reason for that.
It has.
Generative AI has basically stopped Google from sending you website traffic. So May 24, 2024, Google put generative AI on Google's answers. And before generative AI, about 15% of all searches on Google ended in a click. Want to take a guess what it is today?
No.
6% or
Ooh.
less.
Wow.
So that
I
means
was going to say 2, and it
it
depressed me
feels
too
like
much
it's
to
yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
Oh no. Did we just lose Liz?
She's coming back.
There
Oh,
she is.
back.
Phew! Phew. So what happens with that is you need to make sure that you have traffic coming to you from other places. So if you are written about in the press, that's another place. If you're creating video, that's in another place. So these are like really important things as we think about how we're amplifying our message, how we're getting out there in the world. Like we really need to think about what's so-called Google Zero, the time frame when Google will send you no traffic. So that's the power of PR today.
That's so sad. And it's like, and all the technology, like they kicked us out and brought us back in. So even technology is
It's working against
offended
us.
by
Yes,
what's
it's
going
working
on
against us.
with search. So the more PR you get, the more links you have that will drive people to where you are.
But the more visibility and the more amplification of your messages and the more places where people can find out about you beyond just going to Google and typing in something and you happen to come up in the first 3 answers. That's traditionally what we were all doing search engine optimization for. And, I think one of the things we also need to think about is what's going to replace that traffic. Traffic coming from AI tools like Gemini and ChatGPT. Are you an answer inside chat? So we're starting to see a lot of our clients and our own sites, the Google organic traffic went down because now they want you to pay for that traffic. And the ChatGPT traffic is going up. So you need to be seeding the LLMs or the large language models with your information so people find you there as an answer.
So having those answers as the content on your website
Yeah.
is going to be helpful. Cheryl, your face went away. I don't know if you realized your camera got turned off. Or I don't even know if you can hear me.
Oh.
Oh, great. Yay, technology. Woohoo. Okay, despite all of the technical challenges. Oh, look, and she is back. And if you're watching the replay, this is just how technology works sometimes.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm back.
I see that. I should really stop trying to put. I love the consistency of keeping you people where you started, but this has been,
Well, this is why you have multiple guests. So if one
That's
of us
right.
drops out, you have another guest.
Yes.
Live.
You're
It's
welcome.
live, Deb.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we love live. So if you're watching the replay, you're welcome. Cheryl, before we get into gifting goals, what recommendations do you have for, or what are your thoughts on using media? What is that impact for thought leaders, authorities, etc.?
So trust is at an all-time low, right? I watch my kids go on social media and they're like fake, 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 scroll, scroll, fake, fake. And we can say that when we find people we trust online and they recommend other people they trust, that carries a lot of water. It just does. Kind of like what we were talking about earlier, Deb, when you get a recommendation for something a skincare product, shampoo, whatever, you're going to check it out because I trust you. And so we build trust through relationships. And when there are connections, like the connections we have here, like the four of us, and I say to Liz, meet my client or meet this, and then I say, well, let's connect the two of you. There's an added level of trust. So what we're doing is we're creating content, whether we're being interviewed on a podcast, or we have a podcast, or we have a YouTube show, or we get interviewed on the media. We're just creating connections. That's all we're doing. And the trust is built through the connections that are already there.
I 100, 200, gazillion, 1,000% agree. Which is why I love doing the show. Yes, you and Bobbie know each other. You're part of Bobbie's community. I believe I introduced you to
You did it, yes.
Innovation
Absolutely.
Women years and years ago.
Fabulous.
But it's really a matter of, okay, who needs, this show is a matter of, okay, who needs to meet each other? Let me put them in a room together.
Yeah.
And that's that. And 52 Secrets, they're all people I know. Or the people I know said, when I would ask them, okay, who else needs to be in the book? I got some recommendations that way. So that's why networking, I know it's turning into networking, is never going to ever completely go away, because when you can't reach your goals on your own, and the tribes of your people are also your tribes. And that's how we create trust-based relationships, but that's also how we get in front of other audiences and amplify our voice. You need something, you ask your network, you know which people have shows or have resources to get you in places where you can amplify your voice. And that is very much the first step. I brought it back. Yay. Okay, go me. We have a couple other people chimed in a little bit later watching live. Americo and Jay, thank you for watching GoalChat Live. I think this is, I said before, this conversation started as a completely different show, and we ended up with really out of the park, wonderful panel with great advice. What goal would you all like to gift to the audience? So what is something someone could do today, tomorrow, immediately to amplify their voice? Bobbie, we are going to start with you.
I mean, I already gave everybody say yes to public speaking if you get asked.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'll gift them with a goal of seeking a perfect speaking opportunity for you. I would like everybody to look around them and say, what stage do I need to be on because the audience is perfect for my message? Go look for that opportunity.
Ooh, I love it. Because guess what? You know the answer. And it might be a dream stage, even better. Good. You know, it's not unattainable just because, wait, I'm using quadruple negatives. Just because it's a dream does not make it unattainable.
Good. I applaud that.
Okay. Thank you. Liz, what goal do you want to gift?
Well, I think the goal that I want to gift is to challenge everybody to come up with at least one wow story that you could tell in a media interview. And think about when you tell stories to people, what do they say wow to? What do they step back and go, that's incredible. Like the 120 hours to train a service dog, one supports behavior. So that would be my goal gift.
Great. And I think that it's good networking research too, because if for some reason I've got too many, pick up the phone a friend, have a coffee, and ask them what resonates with them. So you've got like a bonus networking goal in there. Awesome. Cheryl, what goal are you gifting?
Can I do this one? I'm going to say it. Don't
But this one.
it's a negative, but it's
Oh,
can be a goal,
you
right?
can talk in whatever.
Okay,
You can talk
okay.
in quadruple negatives. That's
Okay.
fine.
Don't allow your fear of video to keep you from sharing your story.
Okay,
And
so
it's a little
let's
bit of-
turn
it's a
that
fact-
into a goal.
Okay, turn that into a goal. Use video to tell your story.
Okay,
That's
so like 30-second create. Let's do this. Create a video that is what in length?
Let's do 60 seconds. Create
Okay.
a 60-second video. So then it ties in what Liz said. You can share that story in that video, but don't allow the fear of being on camera keep you from doing that.
Okay. Create a 60-second video sharing your wow story. I love it when the goals pile up on each other. And don't let
Converging.
fear stop you.
Yep.
Okay. I accept. Well, this is the thing. Advice, a tip, it can always be a goal, right? And I was telling this story when I did my book event over the weekend. The book proposal for 52 Secrets was sent out as 101 Rules for Success in Business. It's the same book. Secret, tip, rule, goal. They're all they're all actions that you can take to move forward in your life and or career. There you go. Where can people find out? We're going to do final thoughts in a second, but please let everyone know the best place where they can learn more about you and your business. We'll go backwards. Cheryl.
Let's see, my YouTube channel. So youtube.com/Cheryl Tan. I have a video challenge at mastervideotoday.com. And if you want to learn more about all the things I offer, it can be at my website, CherylTanmedia.com.
Excellent. And Liz, where's the best place for people to find you?
I love it. Well, the two places to find me are goodypr.com, and it's Goody with a Y. Or if you're an author, go check out goodybusinessbookawards.com. You can nominate your book in 5 minutes. It's really easy, 50 categories. And the last thing I'll just say is you can follow me everywhere on social media through my name. It's Liz H. Kelly. The middle initial is important, so at Liz H. Kelly.
Wonderful. And Bobbie?
Innovationwomen.com is probably the easiest way to find me. And you're all invited to Speaker Friend Fridays. So when you sign up on innovationwomen.com, you get a link to Speaker Friends, and you can come and hang out and talk about everything related to public speaking with us.
And that is every Friday. It is 9 a.m. Eastern.
8:45. We have to start.
Oh.
It literally has gotten so popular that we have to start early. So we start with introductions at 8:45 Eastern. And then first and third Fridays, we also do a session at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific for our West Coast friends so they don't have to get up at the crack of dawn.
Or as I say, I guess I could show up, but I'd never be on camera that early.
We actually have a surprising number of people from the West Coast who are on at 9:15 Eastern, which is 6:15 on the West Coast. And
which is great for them.
Some of them are even on camera, not all of them. And we understand.
Okay. Well, I try to be at least one, if not both, West Coast friendly Speaker Friend Fridays each time. I love that you make it user friendly for us twice a month. I am at the Deb Method everywhere on social media, and you can get the recap and watch the replay, get the goals at thedebmethod.com/blog. And if you want to learn more about sharing your authority through a book via book proposal, you can learn more at thebookproposalexpert.com and or grab a copy of your goal guide and or 52 secrets for that extra push to create the life you deserve and desire. I knew it was going to be a great conversation. I'm so thrilled to have you all join me today. What final thought do you want to leave people with? I know what Cheryl's is going to be, so we'll start with you. Cheryl, final thought.
no, you don't know what I'm going to say, but you probably do. I think
Is it going to be, don't be afraid of speaking, of getting on camera, or are you going to do something else?
No.
Okay.
I was
I
going to
sit
say
corrected.
that it is an exciting time to be able to share your expertise with the world. It is an exciting time, but you have to start. And whether you start a show or get on stage or get help from somebody who can amplify your message like Liz, whatever you do, just get started.
Okay. That's great. And Bobbie, final thought?
Final thought is stay warm, folks. And what I mean by that is not necessarily the stay warm because it's winter and there's snow, but stay warm with a community. Like cozy up to a community, make friends. As Deb says, we do go farther together. But I really do think that the crowd is the way to go these days.
I love that. Absolutely. Liz, final thought.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts, but I think
Pick one.
I think I want to leave with be resilient, and it's okay to fail. And we're all giving tips, and we're making it sound really easy. I tell people PR is hard. I get rejected every day, but I'm just resilient. I get back up and I try it a different way until I get a yes. And so be resilient.
And I think it's relevant to all aspects in, amplifying your voice. You're here for a reason. You know things and you want to share those things. And whether it is through PR, through a stage, through video, and or all of the above, because in theory, I guess it could be all of these, right? You have to keep at it. You need to own your topic, own the thing that you have to say, and amplify it, because that's the way you get seen and your message gets out into the world. Thank you again, Bobbie Carlton, Liz H. Kelly, and Cheryl Tan. Thank you for tuning in. Again, I'm Debra Eckerling, live every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific. And you can also subscribe to GoalChat on your favorite podcast platform and follow at The Deb Method for inspiration, motivation, and just cheerleading and focus to get you to achieving the goals you desire. Go! Amplify your voice. We know you can do it.